Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Singles Connect community. And it's a beautiful evening in the Dallas Metroplex, and we're back with another episode. And I have my lovely co-host with me. I have Akan the King, and I have the beautiful Dr. OJ. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Wonderful. How are you, Stacy? We're doing great. How are you doing today?
Great.
I am fine, thank you, everyone. And for all of you that has not been along the ride with us, we have been doing this now for a while, and we appreciate you and thank you guys for joining us and for coming on the journey with us. And if you are dating us, just go ahead and subscribe and like and just decide to become a part of the family. I was not here last week, but it was a great show. I listened in and navigating singleness. You guys were dropping gems all over the place. I love that episode. And we are going to continue on the conversation along those lines. So today we are discussing the finding purpose while waiting. So we try to keep it cohesive. We try to keep the topic very close together so we're not all over the place. And I'm eager to hear what my co host has to say about this topic, if anybody had any input yet. So, Akan, you want to go first and let us know your thoughts?
I think for me, it's so finding purpose while waiting. I think I'd like to first of all talk about what purpose is. What is purpose? For me, there's different definitions for it, but I think for me, simply purpose is the reason why something is created, why it's existed, and what it's meant to do. And so, whenever we say purpose while waiting, before dating or before a relationship, you're talking about, you knowing what you really stand for or what your existence is for or why you're here, and that sort of like spills over to different parts of your life or different parts of your existence. And I think this is a very important topic for us to talk about because I think this is the root um, of every human being, and it's important for us to touch on things like this to just sort of give people a better idea on how to really discover what they really need to be able to actually know themselves and to actually know their value. So that would be my perspective on finding purpose while waiting. Just an opening, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much, Akan, for that opener. I mean, definitely understanding what purpose is important because a lot of people don't even know who they are. Before you start even thinking about purpose, having your identity sorted out is a place where we all need to start from. I find that most people in the world today, when you ask them about themselves, they tend to talk about themselves based on what they do, possibly some things that they have attached to them. Most people don't even know who they are. They don't know what makes them comfortable in their skin. They don't know what makes them basically the fabric of their being, like the fact that they are the way that they are, they have the personality traits that they have, and things like that. So most people don't have a solid identity, or they don't have an awareness of what their identity is. Now, if you don't know who you are, how do you begin to now move to the point where you're knowing what you're created for? Because it's like, okay, if I don't know this thing is an AirPod or something, I'm just gonna look at it like, oh, this looks interesting. Oh, I wonder what it is. Or it has two parts. Then if I don't know what it is, how do I even begin to dissect in my brain that this is what it could possibly be used for? So I think that's where we all need to get started from before we even begin to talk about finding purpose and all of that good stuff. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Mm.
Well, thank you both for your perspective. I agree. And just to pick up where both of you guys left off, we are on the Singles Connect community are big advocates of becoming self aware, self discovery, the journey in figuring out exactly who you are. To allude to what or to pick up where Dr. OJ left off, to me, when it comes to finding purpose, or you first have to figure out what your identity is. And a lot of people do, their identity is wrapped up in career, their identity is wrapped up in family, their identity is wrapped up in the things they do and the things they like, not necessarily who they are. To be honest, I think knowing your purpose is like one of those. gifts, rare gifts that a lot of us, wouldn't say a lot, but some of us haven't had the opportunity to figure out. Because I will tell you, there are a lot of people that are walking around that are middle age, late 30s, 20s, whatever. And that question has never even crossed their mind. They don't even have a thought when it comes to what was I created for. I personally think that we're all created to occupy the earthly realm that we're in for a reason. We're all here to be a part of a bigger plan. Is what I think. But not everyone has that mindset or that consciousness to even ask those questions. So we go about our daily lives just existing in what the role society tell us that we need to play, the roles that our family tell us that we need to play. And I think that is why sometimes we get lost in relationship or society, or you will see even after like children leave the home, you have people that file for divorce because they no longer feel like they have any more purpose within that relationship, or they feel like they lost a part of them because they thought that maybe the only role that they were supposed to play was just being father to these children. But now that the kids are off and growing and whatnot, then they probably necessarily don't need them anymore. So I think you, as Dr. OJ rightfully say, you have to figure out what is that bigger purpose that you're here for. And that takes introspection to me. It takes you thinking of your existence as just not just getting up and doing the mundane of life and existing. Like, is there more to my life than just this? So that's where my mind go when I think of purpose and think of asking those practical questions to yourself and or of yourself of why is it that you're here.
So, I mean, thank you so much, Stacy. You're so right about that. This morning while in devotion and prayer, just something struck my mind, and as I was praying, the Holy Spirit was like, we are saved, right? We are saved not for us to get comfortable with living life here. So oftentimes when we go to God in prayer and we're asking for that partner, that life, that set life, all of those things that we feel are supposed to get us cushy and comfy on this side of earth, while God will do us the I guess the favor of giving us those things, because he wants us to have those things. He says, I wish above all things that you prosper, even as your soul prospers. So the first thing for him is, I'll save you, bring you back to redemption, snatch you from the pit of hell. Now, once that's done, we have a job, an assignment to complete. Because before time, and I have this very weird, long-winded understanding, right, that I'm learning over time as as we get to learn more about God, we get to get more deeper with him. So before time, before we came into the womb and we got contaminated with sin, God had a plan. Everyone was very pure and perfect. He says everything God created, he saw it and said, it's good. So Akan, before you went into your mother's womb, you're good and perfect before God. Before I went into my mother's womb, I was good and perfect before God. Then, of course, I came in through conception and came into this world. Sin is my, I guess, my transitional transportation. Now, after that, I'm in this world. Now, God has to save me so that he can get me back to the place before that time. So now he has saved me. Now he's like, okay, now you're saved. We've gotten all that out of the way. Now let's get to work. A lot of us humans, unfortunately, we take that to mean, okay, Lord, now where's my husband? Now where's my children? Now where's my house? Where's my car? And we never ever stop. For the most part, we don't stop until some major life incident happens. And truly, truly, a lot of us get to the bottom of when we get to the end of ourselves. Maybe there's some major life incidents that takes us where we finally get to that point where we feel like, okay, God, what do you really want from me? I've gotten all the money. I have the husband. I have the children. I have the set life, but I still feel there's an emptiness. And for most of us in this season of being single, this would be a perfect time for us to take that time of being saved, having a relationship with God, to now going back to him to say, what's my assignment? Because a lot of us have assignments that getting married would distract us from that assignment. And sometimes God will keep the husband and the children away so that that way he can get us focused on that. And a lot of us who have assignments that being married, having a husband would help us in fulfilling that purpose that he has for us. So I say all of this to say it's important for us to establish, first of all, our identity, and then understanding that our relationship, of course, we know that not everyone watching our podcast is a Christian, saved and all that, but I'm kind of just speaking my own point from being a child of God, saved, and, a Christian person, that we need to know that our purpose transcends the seasons of life where you're single, now you're married, now you're all of these things. All of those things are good. God wants us to have them. But to Him, our purpose and our assignment is more prevalent to Him. That is the kingdom assignment that He has for everyone. So that's what we need to be in pursuit of. Whether we're waiting to be married or we're not waiting to be married, in any season or even when we're married, we need to always be in pursuit of God, what is my assignment? What work do you have for us to achieve? So some of us will have to do that with a partner because it's necessary. Some of us, fortunately so, would have to champion it alone and then have to find our help from other places. Like, we're all coming together. This is an assignment for us. And we're all doing it together because God found a way to bring us together from different parts of where we were. And He brought us together to this to fulfill this assignment. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know if it made sense, but that was a long winded way. I was just trying to put my thoughts together based on that revelation of understanding that I'm saved, not for comfort, but for kingdom assignment.
Thank you, Dr. OJ. Yes, so okay, so Dr. OJ touched on something, and we have to acknowledge and appreciate that everyone that is listening to the sound of our voice or that may be a fan of the Singles Connect platform is not Christian or may have some type of other belief. But I think in all religion, it doesn't matter what religion you follow. There, what I think that all of the religions have in common is that there's always some type of assignment or purpose behind it. There is always a bigger calling behind all of it, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Jewish, Voodoo, it, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything that I've ever read or seen demonstrated or even listened to people talk, there's always this bigger picture. There's this bigger assignment. There's always this bigger thing. And so basically, when you are, before you decide that you're going to take on family, um, and those are the things, because family too can be an assignment, that can be purpose. Some people are assigned to building a family, creating healthy children that also get produced in the world to then contribute something bigger, broader picture. Sometimes people career too can be purpose depending on what those careers are. I think there are some very meaningful careers that are out there that people do, whether you're doctor, nurses, those type of career, that those two are also to me calling, because you're caring for lives, you're caring for souls, no matter, because you're touching people every single day. Yes, some of it may be driven by the earning potential, but so for the most part, I think it takes very special people too in order to do certain jobs. You have to have certain
Yeah.
characteristics about you. You have to have a certain kind of
Thank you,
heart.
Stacy.
And I think God plays a role in our makeup in some of the things that we're called to in terms of the career that we choose. So it's about, again, self awareness and identity. Like, what is your identity? What is the purpose that you want to serve on this earth? Like, what is it that you want to be left behind about you, outside of tying yourself to someone else or a relationship? That's how I tend to look at the whole thing when it comes to purpose. Like, what do you want your legacy to be about? So I don't know if you want to shed some light on that, maybe Akan, about what you
Yeah.
think overall about everything that I said so far, but that's what my mind tend to go to every time I think about purpose.
Mm-hmm.
If we just look at it from a broader practical scale, is what is it that you want your legacy to be? Who do
Mm.
you want to show up in this world to be? What do
Mm-hmm.
you want people to say about you when you are no longer here walking amongst the earth with the rest of us?
I agree. I agree with you, Stacy, and I've listened to Dr. Oji as well. And honestly, you've all been hitting the nail on the head. And it's really good to have different perspectives of what we think and how we see purpose, and how it's connected. And for me, when I thought about these topics, certain questions came to mind. And one of those questions, like for me, was like, why is purpose important? And I thought about, it says, you see, for me, it's like purpose is important because purpose is a blueprint for your life, and purpose is a blueprint for how you're going to live your years on the earth, right? And you cannot really lead your life, because you have to remember, if you're going into a relationship and you're waiting, you're going to lead somebody, whether you're a man or a woman. And before you lead someone, you're going to have to lead yourself. So you can't really lead yourself. So why is purpose important? One of the first things you're going to be able to lead because it's a blueprint, number one. Number two, you cannot have direction without purpose. Now, what is even the most powerful thing in the world without direction? Chaos. So if there's no direction, there's chaos. So purpose creates direction for you. And this is why purpose is very important, because, and I think for me, what I've come to find is sometimes, a lot of times, there's some other things that are like really quiet that people don't know. And that question that really comes up quiet that we don't really talk about is it possible to not know what your purpose is? You know, and the answer is yes, because there was a time when, in as much as I probably was living part of my purpose without knowing, but I didn't know the answer to that question myself. And I had to come to terms to say, listen, it's okay to say, I don't know what my purpose is. And then be intentional about finding out what your purpose is. So, like I said, one of my questions is, why is purpose important? And then, why is it important to pursue your purpose while waiting, right? Because when you have to find your purpose on your own first. And then while you're waiting, because when you do meet that person, when you do get into a relationship, now you have to also live that life that you were living with that person. Only thing is, somebody else is coming in with you. So imagine you went to now go and date someone, you didn't discover your direction, you didn't know what your blueprint is, you don't know why you are the way you are, you don't know why you like the things you like, you don't know whether you're going to be up tomorrow, whether you're going to be down, whether you want to go down tomorrow. That's chaos. So this is just on the questions of why, and I just wanted to say there's a couple other questions that I've also thought about and had. But if you guys want to add a little bit on that, that's fine. If not, I can move on. We can talk about more, about that.
So I
Yeah.
think so what you said about it's okay for people not to know their purpose. I am with you with that. I think when I first started, that's what I was saying. That there's a lot of people. I think it's an actually a gift when you actually know what your purpose is. When
Hmm.
you've taken the time out to ask those questions, because there are people walking around that has never even thought about that. They have no idea. There are a lot of people walking around without self identity. They're just going through the motions of life. And when you talk about the purpose give you direction, it does give you direction. It also give you structure too. And a lot of times there's some people too that God showed their spouse shows up while they're doing purpose.
Yeah.
Because look at it from this example: the things you're interested in, the things you like. Let's say you're a guy that likes to run, and you participate in whether they're 5Ks, 3Ks, marathon, however, whatever it is. You may find your wife on the track field because that's something you enjoy doing. You find purpose in that. Whether if it's say you're a health nut and you decide that I'm going to make a health juice or drink or whatever it is, or you like wine and I'm going to do that, and you end up finding your mate in that industry, you find purpose together. So there's different things about the things that makes us tick, the things that makes us lit up. And I often tell people, think about the things that you like the most, the things that
Yeah.
that makes you smile, that put a smile on your face, that you do with ease without thinking about it. It makes you tick. There's something that glows when you think about doing that things, and sometimes that is what you're passionate about. That is your purpose. And in getting involved in doing those things too, you find out more things about yourself, and you also find your community in it, and your community finds you and your voice in doing stuff like that. So there, I can go on and on when I think about purpose, because there's different ways I think, an avenue to attack it and to look
Hmm.
at it from different perspective. Some people may even call it interest, not necessarily purpose.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge advocate for discovering what your gift is. I actually created a whole program around that system because I really believe that no matter where you find yourself, what season you're in, what you're doing, if you haven't discovered what your gift is, abuse is imminent. It's like when you don't know the purpose for something, when purpose is not identified or specified, abuse is imminent. And when I say abuse is imminent, is that's why we have a lot of people in the world who literally have amazing value to offer in the marketplace or in the world, whether in their families, whether as a business owner, or even working professionally, because they don't know what their gift is, they're not maximizing their potential, and they're not riding within their zones of genius. Some people would even tell you, oh, I'm just this. Some people will say, I'm just this. Oh, I just have this small thing going on. I don't think there's any person that God created small. It's just a matter of you haven't come into the awareness and self-actualization of discovering what your gift is. Because once you know you have a gift and you have something to offer, you begin to look at yourself a little bit differently. And when you begin to look at yourself and think different about yourself, you actually psychologically, subconsciously present yourself to the world in that manner. That means you show people that, look, I'm here. And you tend to take up more space. And taking up space means you show up and you present what you have to offer in a way. And even when you don't have the guidance or the expertise or the know-how in presenting it, at least you have something going for you that you know that, okay, I'm actually good at this. I can do this. This is something that I like to do. And the continuous awareness of that will push you in the direction of people who would possibly help you, support you, give you the opportunity to do better, or add on to what you have to offer in order to make it better. So talking about, even what Stacy was talking about, that, you could meet your wife, your husband anywhere based on your interests. That's what we're talking about. Because
Mhm.
once you're expressing your gift and you know that you have something to offer, it tends to attract like-hearted and like-minded people to you. It tends to pull people's interest towards yourself. So now you're attracting the right people. And one of those people could end up being your spouse. So now, even if by yourself alone you couldn't make a whole lot with what you have, now that person coming in could be the destiny helper, or like we say, helpmate, to help make that gift bigger and better. And you guys will actually fulfill the purpose for which that gift was given to you. And now you guys have a unified purpose found in your, I guess, your common likeness to something, or even just you being able to express your gift. So I always advocate that, it's important for everyone, whether you're single, married, whatever, everyone needs to discover what their gift is, because God put something in everybody's hand. God put something in everyone's soul when they come into this world. But only a fraction of humans go through life actually discovering what that is. And a lot of us make the mistake of thinking, oh, I have a great job, I'm making a lot of money. They think, oh, now they've discovered what it is, right? Unfortunately, a good number of those people now get to the end of their lives and they're like, whew, I wish I had done something about this thing that I always thought. There's a voice on the inside, which for me, I'll say the Holy Spirit, that's been
Mhm.
telling them, or something that they always felt like, I wish I had done something about this thing that I always thought about doing my whole life. Now I'm 70, I'm 80. I don't have the energy, or I don't, or maybe they're even on their deathbed and they're just looking back and thinking, wow, I wish I had done that business. I wish I didn't make my children the reason why I did not move forward with doing the things I needed to do for myself. You know, Stacy mentioned something that two people, they live together, they raise kids, and then after the kids are grown, they're like, okay, our work is done. We don't have anything to do with each other. You go your way, I go my way. Because each of them did not really discover what their purpose is. Because, yes, while raising those kids is part of God's purpose for a lot of people, because God needs the ecclesia, He needs the church to be grown. He needs, the young folks to come up and take over from the older folks. But He also wants everyone to understand that beyond some of those things, there are additional assignments on our lives that makes the world a better place. And the beauty about purpose is it's not just you doing something outwardly, it's you finding that satisfaction to know that I am doing what I'm supposed to do. I am living within my zone of genius. I am created to be this person, and this is who I am living unapologetically, and I feel fulfilled about it, and I'm content with it. It's just that inner satisfaction that it gives. So it's a two-way street. So it's that thing that fills the void from within. So whether you marry a hundred husbands, there's a space for purpose that having a partner will never fill, that each person has to discover. And it's very important for all of us to fulfill that assignment while we're here. So yeah.
So I think we have all touched in our own way on what are some of the advantages of finding purpose, and um, what is the purpose of, I guess, is there purpose to waiting? I think we have all touched on that in some way or the other. So what do we think are then some of the disadvantage in not knowing what your purpose is, and just, for lack of a better word, just roaming about the earth? So, just doing what you please, like, what are some of the disadvantage you guys think to that, like,
Well, Stacy, I like your question that you're asking, and we're going to touch on that. But I wanted to put a question that
okay,
precedes that. And that question I want to put to you, ladies, is should you date if you haven't found your purpose?
if I
Hmm.
would date if I haven't found my purpose?
Should you date if you haven't found your purpose?
um that's a very good question. But if I would date if I haven't found my purpose, well, yes, but I guess let me go back because for me, I guess I would still date, but for me though, not knowing my purpose, I guess, is not a question that is a question that for me, because that's I am big on trying to figure out. I am not a check the box mentality type of person. That's not how my brain works. That's not how I'm wired. I have to know, it has to make sense to me. Like the
Mhm.
1 plus 1 has to equal 2. The math has to math. I have to know why I'm doing something, the reason behind it, the bigger picture that is involved. I
Purpose.
am not an advocate of mechanism mindset, or robotic mindset, or you're just going along checking the boxes in life because society tells you to, religion tells you to, family tells you to. That's not me. So I'm always constantly doing self evaluation,
Mm.
self introspection, trying to figure out exactly who I am and why I am doing something. But so when I am dating, I am not just dating because I am bored, or because I feel lonely, or because I am seeking attention, or I'm looking for a free meal, or that's, I don't have anything else to do with my time. Because as I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, what you doing?" I'm like, "I am home enjoying this mortgage. That's what I'm doing. I drive long miles all the day of the week. So sometimes on the weekend, I just want to stay at home and chill and enjoy this house that I'm paying for." That's my. So if I decide I'm gonna get all dolled up and go out, best believe it's not because I'm hungry or I'm bored. I'm going out because I truly believe that I personally, this is me, just Stacy-Ann, is
Mhm.
created to be a wife. I know I'm not created to be a single woman. So I am looking for my mate along with asking God for direction and discernment.
Mm.
Because I know some people don't believe in that. They claim that he's a man. Well, they like to quote the scripture: "He who finds a wife findeth a good thing." But listen to me, people, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me and listen to me very carefully. As my uncle likes to say, unless he's the Amazon driver, he is not going to show up at your doorstep. I promise you that. Jesus is not going to drop him off at your door just like that. It ain't going to happen that way. You have to be actively involved in your life in order for the things that you want to show up for your life. So that's a very long answer, but to answer your question, Akan, yes, I would definitely date, even if I don't know what my purpose is, but that don't apply to me. But for the rest of the people that are listening, you
And
can
I
maybe
think
your mate can even introduce you to our community. If you find community, can even introduce you to the things that is your purpose. You never know. Just put yourself out there. That's what I would say.
so. To answer Akan's question, Akan, your question is very good. So for me, I would say purpose is a lifelong pursuit of doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. When we talk about dating, it's something that happens depending on the season that you're in, right? So, not yet discovering what your purpose is just a factor of you not being in the position where you're in total self awareness and self discovery, right? But you can still date. And I think, dating someone does not preclude you from eventually discovering what your purpose is. That person could actually be a catalyst to helping you come up and wake up and say, hey, you're really good at this. Hey, have you, whatever. Your interaction with that person could be the thing that jogs your awareness to start seeking and asking the right questions, because in order for you to discover something that is missing, you got to be in pursuit. You have to be seeking it out. But yeah, so I think you can date while doing that.
So,
And just, yeah, go on, Ekan.
so the reason why I'm asking this question is, I mean, maybe for me, I always think backwards or think sideways, or I don't know. But like I look at what's going on in the world and how life has been, and we've been doing things a certain way. We've been dating a certain way. We've been courting a certain way. Because when I say dating, I'm not just saying like casual dating. I'm talking about dating, courting intentionally to go. And I think it has actually gone on this same thing where let's see where it goes. We'll just figure out ourselves. We get to know each other, but isn't that what might have been, or what is the thing that's really putting a lot of you know marriages, relationships in crazy areas? And I know that in order for you to actually think of that question of purpose, but that's why we're having the discussion, you need
Mm-hmm.
to be aware, you need to actually have the knowledge. So I
Yeah.
think I'm advocating for, when you do have the knowledge that purpose is important, while you're it's important to date, it becomes an intentional thing now. So first of all, you check yourself to know what your purpose is. Doesn't mean you're not going to discover more about your purpose. Doesn't mean you're not going to see new things, don't try new things. What you understand, but then also allows you to identify someone who appreciates or will move with your purpose. You two, as you both of you as independent, come together interdependent. If your purposes are opposite, and you wouldn't rhyme at all, some people do that, and then we have this chaos. Remember, we talked about direction, we talked about the blueprint, we talked about leadership. These are key ingredients that have to come together and interact. So I think when you do have the knowledge of knowing, okay, this is something I want to find out, I think it helps you date better. And like I'm saying, you obviously have to have the knowledge about that first to know, okay, this person will rhyme with me. And Stacy talked about all things about how she finds out about herself. And Stacy, that's you finding your purpose. That's you doing all those things you said you do. That's you trying to know who you are as a person. That's you finding your purpose. So I just feel like, yes, we did have the place where let's just try, we're human beings, let's whatever, but maybe actually getting that, as that's why I asked this question, should you date? So I think when you do get aware, because I feel before you want to be aware of dating is because you want a successful relationship. If you do get, you want a successful relationship, and that's how I approach things now. It's like, If I want a successful relationship, what are the things that I need to look out for to have a successful relationships? Where are the people who have been in successful relationships? What did they do? What are the things that worked together that allowed them to thrive? And those who did not have successful relationships, what happened? And this is how I like came to this thing where it's like I think it's better for us to advocate, and it's not easy, but the conversation needs to start from somewhere. Advocate to know, knowing your purpose, and it's easier for you to identify and also know those who will not align with your purpose. Now, things can happen. There are exceptions to cases where it just sort of happens and interact. Yes, but I think we'll get more results when we actually are aware. So that was my reason for that question, and that's just sort of like my own, my own thought about it. So
And
I
there's nothing wrong with what you're saying, I can, because reality, it's two ways to it. If you feel like, and I think it's to each his own. If you feel like I have to get with someone who has certain levels of clarity before we get together, that's good. And in some cases, fortunately, even when you get with someone who has whatever level of clarity, whether it's a whole lot or they're just on their journey to getting started, we're still going into that relationship, eventually that marriage, to work on really fine tuning and finessing every area of our lives. And we're going to have to get into certain levels of sacrifice and service to each other's purpose. So while some people might have been on their journey and they're well on their way, they come together, boom, it's getting better now, they continue the journey. Some people might just be in a position of, I don't even know what that is. And then now coming into a relationship with this person who has certain levels of insight, whereby our interaction is positively influencing me to begin to think a certain way. I think that's also not something to write off. It's just like when we talked about boundaries in relationships and looking at some things that people do whereby we have all this list and we're writing down this list, and then if the person doesn't meet the list, oh, do you have your purpose? Yes. Have you fulfilled your purpose? For me it feels like that, like you're checking off that list. But when we look at it from more of a humanistic perspective, like we come together, where are you on your journey? Where am I on my journey? We have those conversations, those real conversations. We're very honest, open, and transparent about it. Now, based on where you're at and where I'm at, are we able to continue on this journey together in order to get to a specific destination? Some people might already know where they are 5, 10 years down the road. And some people might be like, you know what? Well, I don't really know, but I'm open to learning. So if I now meet a partner who's like, well, I don't really know, but I'm open to learning. Now there is somewhat of an alignment where, okay, I could be the person that fires up the flame in him to make him the best version of himself. And he could be the one that would come in and fan the flame in me that I might not already possess to make me the best, because now that makes him a valuable partner to me. And that could be a reason why God put us together. Again, remember, when we're talking about this purpose thing, it's also about assignment. Purpose is also part of that purpose, whatever other things it is. Part of it is if you're getting in a relationship, that relationship automatically becomes a purpose assignment for you. I don't know if you guys agree with that. It automatically becomes a purpose assignment for you. So now that person taking on that task with you, you now begin to ask questions and talk about the things that really matter. Are we looking to get the same things out of this? And that could be a way for you to discover, okay, is this person's purpose, their assignment, or their thought process, is it even in line with where we can both work together, and hopefully they can now discover what their bigger picture assignment or purpose is. Yeah.
but Dr. OJ, I hear what you're saying, but I think in a way we are saying the same things,
Oh, okay.
but just in a different way because your values will reflect what your purposes are. Just like what you said. Like there's people that don't even have these conversations. Like, oh, let's have honest. They don't do that. They
Mm-hmm.
just come in, bow, go, and then it's like da 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 da, da, right? So it's like that thing we are talking about. It's this. There has to be some sort of reflection of the values that you have,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
philosophies that you have, that
Yeah.
reflects. It doesn't mean you might actually have a wholesome, you know, like idea of who you are, whatever. But see, those values are they're going to show. Like these are the things that we both agree on, and these are the sort of the ideas, the beliefs, and so I think we're sort of saying the same thing. But I definitely understand what you mean, and I definitely get that. Stacey, you want to add on that, or we can actually move to something else.
So you know the saying, guys, that say the popular saying that show me where you spend your money and I'll tell you where your heart is.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like
Right.
sometimes if you look at the things that people spend their money on, then you know exactly what they value.
Right.
So sometimes too you can look at people life and actually without even sometimes a lot of times having a whole lot of conversation and just look at the way people carry themselves and the things that they tend to focus on, the things they tend to spend their most time and money and energy on, and you can tell too where someone value lies. Like just the saying too that it's a relationship is a mirror to ourselves. Sometimes you don't know actually about the things that you need to work on or the things that is wrong until you actually get into relationship with other people. And I like to say on here, for those of you who are new or for those of you who are old listeners, it's different. All relationship, this doesn't have to be romantic at all. This can be relationship with your community that you've created, whether
Yeah.
it's your best friends, your co-workers that you're tight with, that you hang out with, your siblings, your parents. Look at how you are in relationship with those people too, and you can tell oftentimes what are the things that are important to you. There are some people that are more family oriented than others. Whether you like them or not, whether you get along with them or not, that is an entirely different conversation and another topic. But are you there if someone needs you? You can tell, those little things. And like I think Akan said it before, even when you are dating, get some tool that person can amplify the things about you that you didn't even know exist, and that can highlight the things that you're passionate about or the things that you're good at that you probably don't even recognize, and encourage you to do something with this. Like, I really think you're really great at this. You can do something with this. And those core conversation, back to what Akan was talking about, when you were talking about people coming together, it, those core conversation too are really important, because in those core conversation is whether or not you can figure if you guys are aligned, if you're on the same page, if you talk about purpose, give you direction, it give you structure, it also help you apply disciplines to your life. You can, in those conversations, you can figure out, do we align, are we going in the same direction? Because a lot of people get in relationship or even get married for different reasons and never have these conversations. And then you
Yep.
have people
Yeah.
that are in these marriages and there's relationship and they're constantly button heads. They're at each other's throats every day because they don't have the same alignment. They have different understanding of how our children should be raised, how we should spend our money, how we should spend our time, what we want our marriage to look like, how we want our household to be run. Because you have people that are coming together from different backgrounds, different religion, education, economical structure, culture, all of that. But a lot of us, we don't talk about the real hardcore things. Like, I don't really care in the beginning what your favorite color is. Yeah, it's important maybe 5 months down the road. We can always talk about that.
Yeah.
If I like orange, you like blue, whatever. What I really want to know right now is, what is your relationship like with your family? How do you view marriage? What type of home structure did you grow up in? How did that impact you? What do you want to see your life look like in 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Do you have anything you're passionate about, anything you're pursuing, anything that you want to do before you leave this earth? What do you think those things are? What do you want your legacy to be about? If you have any idea that you want to be a parent, what type of parent do you want to be? Somebody blocked me the other day and called me dumb for asking that question, but God bless you, sir. Have a very nice life. Because as I said, you are asking me about kids. How do I even know you're a candidate to be even a father? But you're talking about wanting to be a parent. So again, these are the conversation I really think people don't have, because we're a lot of us are in the mood of just rushing to the trying to get to the altar, and not even so much for the marriage, but for the Instagram post and the picture and the white dress and the flowers and the foo things.
Yeah.
Not even the life. It's just about the photo ops. But I'm gonna stop rambling now. Hopefully, I answered your question. I answered a lot, but anyway,
Oh my goodness, it's
I talk a
okay.
lot. Forgive
No,
me.
no, 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 it's okay because we're all passionate about this topic. What was that other question that Stacy asked earlier? So that way we can move it forward from there. Before Akan brought his own. Do you have to have your purpose before getting married?
Oh, okay. I think I had said that I think all of us had kind of touched on what
Uh
are
huh.
the
Oh, you were
advantages
talking
of.
about the disadvantages of
Yes,
not
because I
finding
think
your
we all kind of
purpose.
touch on what are some of the advantage of the purpose of finding your purpose, and also what is the purpose of waiting. I think we kind of all, but did we? I don't think we touched on the disadvantage of not doing
I
Mhm.
those
think you
things.
just kind of surged way into that actually because that's what jogged my mind to say, oh, we have another question to
Okay.
address. So that's where you're talking about the fact that a lot of people are wanting these things for the wrong reasons. And that's why having this purpose discussion is very important. Because some people will say, oh, okay, some people think that purpose is, oh, we're gonna have three kids. We both agreed we're gonna have three kids. Or we agreed that we're gonna buy a house, or we're gonna have two houses, or we're gonna be a two-car or one-car household. So they think that's a thing, those conversations and having those superficial agreements are things that automatically translate into a couple being aligned in their purpose and going in the same direction. Until they get into the thick of things, when all those things don't really matter, and the things that really really matter and very important are how do we resolve family conflict, how do we do those things? Because if your purpose is not aligned, when conflict comes along, when things like family, especially when it comes to extended family, maybe the husband's family or the wife's family, if you guys are not united in your purpose together, knowing this is where our life is going, this is the direction that we're taking our family, these are the goals that we have set and God has given us to achieve together, which having that understanding gives you a stronger base of foundation. So it's kind of like a bigger why beyond you're my husband, I'm your wife. So when the external factors come in, which they will, it's going to be harder for both of you to have a united front to get everyone back in their corners like, hey, hold up. This is our family. Because you don't have such a strong why beyond we have a house together, we have cars together, we have kids together. Those things do not cement people at their core. They're just superficial things. So if
Hmm.
you don't have that purpose, the disadvantage is it's going to be harder for you guys to get through the tough times.
That's good.
Because when you know what your purpose is, when she knows what her purpose is, for example, a man in ministry who has been called to
Mhm.
be a minister, whose wife is supporting him in that journey and knows that her husband's assignment is really bigger than him just being a husband and a father. There's so many souls out there that God has for him to save. So she knows she has to protect the home front. So anyone coming from the outside to bring some type of chaos, or anyone coming to share their opinions about, oh, how come your husband don't work? He's just a pastor. You're the one paying the bills. Like, you don't understand. My husband and I have a covenant. We understand that this is our assignment and this isn't. And I know what my role is in that assignment because my husband and I, we have united our purpose, and I know what my role is in that purpose. And he's playing his role. So when someone comes from the outside trying to criticize or trying to bring some trouble, it would be easier for them to deflect
Mm.
and stay united and get through the rough patches and get through the tough times. So that's one of the disadvantages not having a strong purpose in relationship and marriage, I believe, could bring in.
Yeah, Dr. Oje, well said. And, I think you've said it all, but I just wanted to add that there was something you said, and I think it's important to hit hard on that point, which is understanding. Before alignment, you actually have to get through understanding. Because when you understand what y'all's purpose is, that means you're not, see, when you don't understand, you're not going to be able to see context. So this is what happened. Remember, we talked about direction? You guys are going to be going in opposite directions because
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand why you're interpreting what he does, and he's interpreting what she does a certain way. Meanwhile, you guys have purpose. So that understanding is very important. So one of the disadvantages is you're going to have misunderstandings. You're going to have conflict because of not knowing your purpose. There's going to be resentment because when you don't understand, there's conflict, and now there's resentment because there's frustration. So you get frustrated, right? So that's why this is one of the these are like one of the disadvantages of not knowing the purpose. So I just want to keep it short, but I just wanted to add that. But I know we are almost getting there, and I just wanted to ask. I think this question is very important because we're talking about waiting while like waiting while finding purpose while waiting. I just want to say, like, what are some of the practical ways that you can give to finding purpose while waiting for a single person? Like, I just wanted us to quickly touch on that because I know our time is is going.
Fast spent it is, but I'm just going to say this, no explanation. Discover your gift. Just figure out what it is that God put in your hand. First thing, that's the starting point. And then I don't know what else Stacy wants to, because if you discover your gift, then that gift will start sending you on missions. You start finding things to do with it. And that is like, say, occupy till I come. So while you're waiting, occupy yourself with your gift till the man or the wife comes.
Right.
And I will just add to that. You can also make a list of what your interests are, the things that you are passionate about, the things you care about, and get involved in doing those things.
Yeah.
Because I said sometimes your purpose lies within your interests. It lies within the things that you're passionate about, the things that
Mm-hmm.
you do without ease, the things that brings you joy, that you can get up at 3 in the morning and you get excited about doing this at those 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's what I will say to start there. And don't be embarrassed or feel like it's minute. Even if your interest is simply going to the gym, cooking, uh,
Good.
baking, small things we're doing here, beauty, or if you're a guy and you like to build things, you like to do things with your hand, whether that's making furniture, hardware, fixing things, because all of us purpose to me looks very different.
Uh-huh.
Everybody plays a role that makes this world that we all live in go round in this axle that it is. All of
Yes.
us contribute to society in one way or another, and it doesn't matter how small or big it is. It all plays a role in all of this. So start there. Start with your interest. Start with the things that you like and you enjoy doing, and get deeper involved in those things, and spend some time with yourself. We are a big advocate here, as I said before, about self evaluation, self introspection, and as I kind of like to call it, self awareness. People, self awareness, and YouTube University is a beautiful place. People, we all don't need university no more. If you can't even figure, if you don't even know what something means, just get on YouTube University. It will point you in the right direction.
Direction. Yeah.
That's my takeaway. You will find some books, some podcasts, preferably ours, Singles Connect community, to listen to.
Right.
Or, but somebody else. There will be plenty of resources out there to steer
Yes.
you in the right direction and to give you valuable information.
That's awesome. Like, and it's true. Like, you ladies have said it all. I'm just gonna also add a little bit there, just still based on what you both said. Which is like doing the things you want. But I would say start from where you are. Where you found your feet standing. Start there. You're standing somewhere. The people say, "Oh, I don't have nothing." Zero is something. Start from point zero. You have long hands. You know how to smile. You know how to see. Start from there, right? You know how to smile. Smile well. That might be where you find your purpose. Do what you see yourself doing around. What is
I
the
love
place
it.
you're doing? So I always say, like, start from where you are. You know, start by, if you know how. If God has given you the ability to brush your hair properly. You
Very
know,
well.
greet people well, right? Start from where you are, and that's it. That's number one that I'll say. Number two, please try new things. I keep saying this.
Mhm.
No one is a tree. God, God kept trees for us to use. We are human. You can move. You know, last year my main point, like my main goal was do more, become more. You can only become more by doing more, even about
Mm-hmm.
something you have totally no idea about. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't try it, you will never know. When you try it, now you know it's not for you. But then if you try, you might now know that now this thing is for me. So do more to become more, and you just never know. And then number three, please keep an open mind. Keep an open mind to people. Keep an open mind to the world. Keep an open mind to ideas. Keep an open mind to imagination within where you're going to, because you want something that's great for you. Keep an open mind. So these are like the three things that I would say. And then also too, I think one thing there's something called the power of autosuggestion, which is you're able to take in, right? Since you're trying to discover this stuff about purpose, same thing Stacy said. Go and look for things that will help you discover your purpose. YouTube University, podcast, all those things. So I think pretty much we've covered most of the stuff. And I don't know if you ladies want to give closing remarks so we can go up, but this has been an amazing podcast because this is why I like SCC podcast because we always touch on the things that matter. I want us to touch on the inside, chop it up, you know?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I guess for my closing remarks, I'll just say, God put a gift on the inside of everyone. Your first assignment as a human being, once you become aware of that, is to discover it, develop a relationship with the gift giver, because in order to know exactly what the assignment on your gift is, you have to go back to the person that gave it to you in the first place. So having a relationship with him will solidify what your assignment needs to be. And I know that this might not be for everyone, but for whoever understands this information, having a relationship with God allows you to sort of find a blueprint that is unadulterated. So now it cuts out the middleman where you're trying to do trial and error. Yes, we use the University of YouTube. That's using other humans who have certain levels of expertise and knowledge base. But the person who really has infinite knowledge that gave you what you're trying to figure out, just have a relationship with him. That's my own thing that I've always advocated for and I will continue to advocate for. And the rest of it will definitely fall into place. As always, you guys know we love you. We want you to have wholesome, healthy relationships within the boundaries of what God has for each and every one of you. So, yeah, definitely make sure you subscribe. Follow us on our social media platforms and let us know what you think about this episode, guys. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Do you have your purpose yet? Do you know what your purpose is? Are you on your journey? And where are you at on your journey? And how can we learn from you as well? Let's hear from you guys.
Stacy, you wanna say something?
No, I think you guys have said it all. Really, I don't really, have anything else to say, except that thank you guys as usual for coming on this journey with us, for learning along with us. And as Dr. OJ say, just make sure you guys comment. Let us know what you think. Is there anything you want to us to talk about? If you can resonate with anything that we are discussing here, we all have different thoughts, opinion, ideas, perspective, but in all we are all on the same page. We just may be saying things in different ways, but in reality we're kind of all saying the same things, because there are different ways to get to the bridge. But so guys, just thank you for being here with us, and I guess we'll catch you guys on the next episode next week, and you guys have an amazing weekend. And yeah, thank you for joining us for another discussion.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye, bye, ladies. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.